Hi, everybody. David Pritchard here. I'm part of the pastoral team at LC3, and we are here. I am here with
Kate Evarts, Director of Communications.
This is Pastor Tung.
All right, and we are here. We're going to just talk a little bit about this Advent season that's coming up, all of the events and the opportunities that are available to us here at LC3, and I think I speak for all of us, we're really excited about this coming season, and so we thought we would get together and record this podcast. And I suppose the first thing that's amazing is just the fact that we're here.
Tell me about this. This is all. I'm a big fan of hexagons, by the way. Like, it reminds me of my favorite board game, which is Castles of Burgundy. It uses hex tiles, and so I like all of this. But will you explain what we're doing here, David?
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am. It's the first time using our new podcast studio. Our tech team, Todd and Samantha, have done amazing job getting all of this ready, the system itself. But the plan is we're going to be launching a podcast, LC3 Family Talk, in early 2025. So this is sort of a chance for us to use this system and record something that we felt would be really helpful as we enter into this Christmas season, this Advent season.
And obviously we could use this for more than just family ministries things.
Absolutely.
It's anytime we have an opportunity to have additional discussion.
Yeah. In fact, you're going to see, and you'll hear more about the podcast. The podcast is going to do a lot more than just family ministries. It's going to be a great tool for our church in general. But I was thinking, we're going to be talking about Christmas, but before we jump into all the amazing things that are going on here, I thought it might be fun to hear from you guys. Like, what is, as you think back, what's your favorite Christmas tradition, either growing up or today or both?
My favorite tradition, and this was started as a child, is reading the Christmas story in the Bible. My dad, the family would gather around Christmas Eve, and we'd turn all the lights off except the tree. And then my dad would get a flashlight and read the Christmas story in the Bible. And I don't know, it just felt so special, and just almost kind of the mystery and the beauty of it, and just no distractions.
Gotta read Luke 2 at Christmas, for sure.
Yes.
I'm going to share my favorite, and also it's becoming my least favorite tradition for our family. So once Debbie and I got married, our tradition was every year we would get a new Christmas tree ornament for just us as a couple or family. And then for each of the kids from before they were born, every single year, then the child would get to choose an ornament that represented that year. So the year that the kids learned to drive, they got a Christmas tree that looked like little car keys to put on the ornament. And so growing up, they would have all of those ornaments. And the tradition was, once they got married and started their own family, we would take all of those precious yearly ornaments and they would send them off to them. Yeah. So it's my favorite because we have all of these ornaments that represent something significant for that year. And it's also now my least favorite because I've had to send off
going away.
Those are all of my precious ornaments.
Well, I thought a lot about you getting ready to do this and just the season that you're in.
Yeah.
I know, for me, and I think, of this season, just how excited I am knowing that, like, some of my kids are going to be coming home, and, but it's a bittersweet because it also means that they, have left. But
But we will find time to celebrate with them this year for sure.
Yeah, for sure. The one for me that I just always think back on is, we used to go to a church that did a candlelight service late, like we do as well. But back then, they weren't as worried about all the laws and rules because we were always challenged to try to get our flame home lit. And so we would literally take the thing in the car, keep it lit all the way home, and then we would get home and then open up presents on Christmas Eve. And I just still have that, I can close my eyes and...
Headline, local Samoan family burns Christmas Eve.
Yes, thankfully we never made that headline, but that's...
The roof of the car has smoke.
Yes, and that is not a request for you to do that here. We want you to blow that thing out.
Please do not have live flames in your fire, in your car,
Yeah.
at any time during the year.
Yeah.
Distracted driving.
But speaking of some of those things, like how about here at LC3? What's your favorite tradition here at LC3, or just some of your favorite traditions here at LC3?
My favorite was bringing back the candlelight Christmas Eve service. When we first started coming to Lake City in 2003, we were having those, and it was so special being as a church family together and ushering in Christmas. And so being able to bring that back a couple of years ago, it's my favorite service of the year.
I love the Christmas worship night and just the extra carols that we get to sing, and just kind of an extended period of time. And it just is always so special and beautiful. And I love that.
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't grow up in a home that did a lot of the liturgies and some of those kinds of things, and so like Advent wreaths were not a part of my upbringing. And so several years ago, when we started to do that here at Lake City, and then really leaned into it, which you'll hear about in a minute, of helping families create their own. I've loved each year kind of that specialness of the church history there's a long history of lighting candles, just as a reminder of our, things that are happening with the Lord. And so I love all of that. And then I love that it also is something that has translated, and, we do it at home, and our kids and our grandkids now, get to take part in it, and they see it on the weekend. So I've loved that tradition.
So build into them a love of fire early. There
you go.
Circles.
Well, I have to teach them how to do the fire dance.
Yeah,
Might as well start with, something like a wreath.
We started talking about Pentecost before long here.
So as we're recording this, it is actually before Thanksgiving. And so we're really talking about everything that is coming up.
Happening soon.
Yes, happening very soon. But even that term Advent, I thought, Tung, maybe you could just share a little bit, like, what do we even mean by that word Advent?
So Advent comes from the Latin Adventus. It just simply means arrival. And so that's like, from that term arrival, it started as a church tradition, seasons of the church, seasons of the year. And essentially in the Christian tradition, there was two types of Advent. There's the first Advent of Christ and the second Advent of Christ. First Advent of Christ is when Jesus was bodily born on earth. And that's what we celebrate at Christmas. We also look forward to the second Advent when Jesus comes back again,
Amen.
The second coming of Christ. And so Advent again started, I think just a couple of hundred years after Jesus. It's been celebrated by the church for over 1,500 years. And it's these several weeks, it's the 4 weeks before Christmas. So even though it says arrival, it's really not about arrival, it's more about waiting, right? Like the Advent season is about waiting for the arrival of Jesus. And honestly,
and preparing.
Yeah. So as you're waiting, you are thinking of, we're about to celebrate the first arrival of Christ on earth. So how do we prepare our hearts and our minds and our souls to receive that? And that's the whole point of the season, right? It's to prepare our hearts and minds for the arrival of Christ.
So good.
Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of things planned for that. Kate?
We do. They're starting this coming weekend is our Advent wreath making this coming Saturday, November 30th. And it's for families, it's for singles, it's for your community group, however you want to use an Advent wreath at home. It's an opportunity to come together and build one that looks how you want it to look and take it home with you.
Do they have to have all the stuff?
You don't have to have the stuff. There's a small fee for just the materials to make the one Advent wreath, but it's free. It's not a per person charge. It's just a per wreath. I think it's $15. So, but don't let cost. You don't want that to stop anyone from coming. So just.
Do you have to be creative?
It helps, but as long as there's one person who knows how to figure out how to wire on some greenery, you'll be safe.
But I will say to you men out there, this is not a women's event. This is for the entire family, and so dads, husbands, men, you guys need to come and take part in this. It's really fun.
I'm not coming. We have come every year, but I'm not coming unless there's Christmas music playing.
Absolutely, there is for sure.
We'll make sure of it. I think there's probably going to be coffee too. So it's a 9 to 11 morning thing. So come get some coffee, have some family fun.
So 9/11 this Saturday.
Saturday, November 30th.
And,
yes.
Pastor Tom has asked for it, so there will be
extensive Christmas music.
Absolutely.
also is a very busy weekend as we're kicking off the Advent season. So it's our Christmas sweater weekend. I wore my favorite one today just for this.
I'm just tipping my hat. I'm going to be wearing Christmas clothes for most of December, not just next week. But next week for sure, you're going to want to see.
Yeah. That's great.
So I have to ask, so it's a Christmas series, kicks off, you're kicking it off, do we get any glimpse or tease or anything?
Yeah, I'll say two things about the Christmas series. Number one is we're going to talk about some of the things that we talk about during Advent. So the typical themes of Christmas are love, joy, hope, and peace. And we're going to be talking about typical Advent things. But the second thing I'll say is this. We have a fun series of that, I have no doubt. But they'll have to join us this weekend to find out.
Okay.
Wow. Mystery. Come find out what it is, I guess. I love it. Come find out and wear your favorite Christmas sweaters. We've had onesies, whatever you associate
dressed as
with
a reindeer.
Christmas, clothing, wear it. We'll love it. Could get ugly. And then also this coming weekend, we're kicking off the season with our Christmas night of worship.
That's your favorite tradition.
I know. I love it. I'm so excited. So it's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. in the worship center. And it's going to be just a night of praying and worship and song and just there'll be some scripture in there and just really just enveloping ourselves in the wonder of Christmas and preparing our hearts and setting the tone for what to expect for this Christmas season. So,
and there'll be Christmas music too.
There will. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Lots of music.
I'm going to beat that dead horse.
But the other thing is we're also starting to prep for the prayer mosaic, which we kind of will introduce that night. There'll actually be a couple of stations at the night of worship, and then
so say more about that. So it's not just a night of worship; it's a night of worship and prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, very much a night of worship. Come if you like to worship, you absolutely want to come. It'll be a beautiful night of worship. And we're going to have some really great opportunities to have a little bit of directed prayer. And that will be a hint at what is coming after that, which is on Monday and Tuesday, we have the prayer mosaic. And so you'll see a glimpse of that at the worship and prayer night. But then on Monday and Tuesday from noon to 8, we're going to have the entire worship center will be transformed into a prayer mosaic and just a bunch of different
so we've
stations.
done prayer mosaics like Easter, Christmas, I think for the last year or two. So can you explain what's the word mosaic and what does that mean?
Yeah, so the mosaic was just a way to talk about the fact that there'll be a lot of different things going on. And so it's not just a time of come and, sit in a corner and pray, not that that's anything wrong with that. That'd be great. But there'll be some actual stations like the Wailing Wall, and there'll be a cross set up and a manger scene. And so there's a lot of different ways to come and interactively pray for this arrival that we're trying to set our hearts for. And I should also mention, because we do have a lot of folks that are solo parenting while their spouses are deployed. We do have childcare for anyone that needs it between 5 and 8. So those evening times, if you want to come and you have littles, we will have childcare.
That's great.
I think our children's department has asked that if you'd like to use the childcare to register, so that way we can make sure we have enough workers to safely watch all the kids that might be there.
Yep.
So
great reminder.
But
that's good.
That's great. Can kids also go through?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So if your littles want to go through, please have them go through. But definitely all of your school age kids they're going to want to go through and they'll enjoy it.
I think childcare is through age 4 for that.
Yeah. Childcare through age 4. Okay. Yeah. So we would recommend families do it, individuals do it, community groups do it. It's all self-guided, but they should all come.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if somebody wants to be prayed over?
So we will have staff there throughout the entire time. And so we'll always have somebody there that if you want to be prayed over, please grab whoever is on duty at that time. We're there to number one, be there just to support it, but we are there specifically to be able to pray for folks and, whatever they need.
Okay. that's my personal plea, guys. Listen, family, if you need prayer at all, if you're going through a hard season, 12 to 8 those 2 days, there'll be pastors here those 16 hours. Will you please give us the chance to pray for you?
All right.
So that's kicking off this weekend.
Yeah.
Any other kind of big events coming up in just the next week or two?
Yeah. So we have the Women's Christmas event. So
If
that's,
we did not plug this, my wife is so mad.
we will plug it right now. This one's for you, Debbie. No, the Christmas events, we have so many women that love to be able to participate that we have divided it again this year into two of the same event at different times. So you can pick whether it's Friday night, a dessert, or a Saturday morning brunch. And it'll be the same speaker and programming wise that will take place. So pick which one works best for your schedule. It's a great opportunity for women to bring your daughters, if like maybe teenage daughters, or your mom or sisters, girlfriends. It's a beautiful time to come together and just hear a special encouraging message and some fellowship with other women and tasty food and
Can they bring their non-Christian friends?
Absolutely.
They should totally bring their
Yes.
Maybe you have a coworker who's not a Christian. It's a great opportunity to invite them to a fun Christmas.
Yeah.
It's not a service, so it's maybe not as intimidating for people who are used to going to church to come. Yeah.
Will there be Christmas music?
Yes, there will be. I guarantee it.
I can't come though.
No.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The other event I would plug is the family nativity
Yes.
pageant, family Christmas pageant. And so if you have kids, you need to come to this. What is the date of that, Kate?
It's Sunday, December 15th.
Yeah. And so the great thing about this is there's no rehearsals, no prep. You just show up. If you have like some shepherd costumes or stuff at home, please, bring those. But even if you don't have to have them. There's some costumes there. They just need to show up, and they're going to read the Christmas story. A few kids will get a chance to, get to actually read. They'll all sort of help act it out. It's really fun.
It's controlled chaos, I think.
There'll be some music playing. Yes.
Is there going to be Christmas music?
Christmas music.
It will be Christmas music. All right. I'm there.
Yeah, so please, families show up to that. You won't be sorry.
And there's cookies. So that's always a plus.
Here's the big question. It's LC3. Is there any time we're going to have hot dogs during the month of December?
Ooh.
Christmas flavored hot dogs.
Yeah, I wonder what Christmas hot dogs would be like.
It will be food events is what we're saying.
Yes. I'm trying to remember. There is Christmas hot dogs.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
that's on the schedule.
Look for each weekend. There's kind of some
Yeah.
different themes going on. It'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a photo booth set up. We've got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, every weekend there'll be something fun happening, and so starting off
something else you wanted to mention, I think.
Just Christmas Eve. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's right. But the times are a little different.
Yeah. Again, everybody knows as a church we're growing and is trying to think through things like parking issues and times. And so we've always had a lot of Christmas Eve services. So the last couple of years we've had 4 Christmas Eve services. We still have 4 Christmas Eve services. But the big difference is, number one, we're moving the earliest one earlier. And 2, we're trying to allow space in between. So the last couple of years I've just felt, even though they're shorter services because it's Christmas Eve, you're in and out there so fast, and the times were so close, it didn't give us an opportunity to really fellowship and hang out. And so one of the ways that we're resolving that this year is our service times for Christmas Eve are 2 p.m. on Christmas Eve, 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and 6 p.m. So there's services are about an hour, 2 hours between services. So 2, 4, and 6, and then we will have our typical candlelight Christmas Eve service at 11:15.
Well, they're all candlelight.
So they're all 4 services.
Candlelight.
If candles are your thing, they're happening at all 4 services.
No driving home with.
You got to blow them out before you.
For sure. They're all identical, both in terms of the music set and the message. Although the 11:15 service is a different message from the previous 3. But that's again happening 2, 4, and 6, and then 11:15. I think the other thing that we did last year, just because of the growing numbers, I think last year we had like 1,800 or 1,900 people on Christmas Eve. It just, our seats are overflowing, even the gathering area is overflowing, and we're even a bigger church year over year. So we do have an overflow space. It's downstairs in the children's the main lobby downstairs.
And it's nice.
And it's nice. So
It's nice.
it'll be, the message will be videoed down there. It'll be set up really nice. I think there's going to be hot cocoa, or
there's
Yeah.
usually-
we're going to make it something special.
Yes, for sure.
So it's definitely a way that we can love our guests. This is Christmas Eve is a time when folks bring their family. They're in town, or people in the neighborhood and community that don't normally go to church will go on Christmas Eve. And honestly, one of the best ways that the regular attenders can love our neighbors and our friends and family is to make use of that overflow space when they see that everything is full. And so, again, 2, 4, 6, 11, 15, both in the regular worship center gathering area, and then the overflow space.
It's great.
Yeah, it's people who sat down there last year just really, really enjoyed it. It's also, if you don't like big crowds,
Yes.
it's a great place, or if you maybe have younger kids, and you might feel more comfortable in not having the giant worship center full of people. That's another opportunity.
We were down there last year.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Yeah,
It was really great.
I can promise you there will be Christmas music on the Christmas Eve services.
Yes.
You're going to want to come.
Right.
It's there.
I know our children's department would love for me to mention, if you are attending LC3 regularly and you're planning on coming to one of our Christmas Eve services, we have childcare for 3 months through 4 years again at the 2, 4, and 6 o'clock services. And they would love if you could register for that if you intend on using it. Where it's not mandatory in terms of if your neighbor comes and they have kids, they don't need to, but we're just trying to get our church, kind of our immediate family, so to say, here at LC3 to register for that. So again, we can have an idea of how many people are going to be wanting childcare, and we can have proper support for that.
I know that sounds like a lot, and you'll keep hearing about these, but we just thought it'd be a fun way to, talk about all of them and let you know about some of the things that are coming up. And so be looking on the LC3 app, on our website. There'll be a handout this weekend, but there'll be lots of ways that you will hear all of this. But all of that to say, we are so excited about Christmas and Christmas music, and we can't wait to spend that with you. And so kind of as a wrap up, I'd love maybe just a quick suggestion, best practices, if you will, suggestions for people, families, how they can make this year's Christmas special.
Yeah, I think our culture can put so much pressure on families to do it perfectly and to have this kind of Pinterest Christmas at home and homemade cookies and just, all out. And I would say take that pressure off yourself, because, grab the pre-made cookie dough and pre-made frosting. Your kids are going to eat them and love them anyway. And what's going to matter to them and what they'll remember and take away is, wow, we had so much fun doing some of those traditions, like making cookies and,
so good.
There's sugar. They'll be happy. They don't care if it's homemade or not. So take that pressure off yourself and be able to enjoy the moment and make it a little more simple and easier to do with busy schedules.
I had a similar thing. I would just say, be intentional with the season. So be intentional in terms of finding time for yourself and then time for your family to think about the meaning of Christmas. This is about Jesus. Ultimately, this is about the arrival of the King. And so be intentional in those spaces. You're going to be busy doing kids programs at school or running to a Christmas party or shopping. Find the time to be intentional. But to Kate's point, be intentional, but also maybe temper your expectations. Right? Whatever expectations you have about what that perfect Christmas day looks like with your family, you're going to have an argument with your sibling, right? Or what is that present that you spent so much time saying, my spouse is going to love this, or my kids are going to love this, and they look at it and be like, oh, that's nice, right? But just learn to temper your expectations and say, we're going to just enjoy whatever the Lord does for us this season, and not let my own expectations of what that should look like ruin or potentially affect what we want to have happen here. So
that's good. Yeah. That's really good. For mine, I'll just lean into the thing I said was my favorite LC3 tradition, and that's the Advent wreath. And just as a way of mentioning, for some of our folks, I know a lot of this can feel overwhelming. I'm not I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher. And so I would say, like, for anyone that maybe feels that way, just use that's why we do some of the things we do. Come build an Advent wreath. There'll be a little devotion that they can do. And then just do those simple things where you just open it up, light a candle, read it with your kids, just as a way to lean into this season. Like, keep it simple, and use some of the resources and tools that we'll be trying to help provide.
Yeah. And there are obviously things like apps, like the Bible app will
absolutely
have Advent devotionals. So if you can't do that on your own, there's going to be resources for that.
And all you have to do is read those. And so I would just say, keep it simple and take a lot of pressure off yourself. So, well, thanks for joining us. I hope this was helpful, and we look forward to spending Christmas with each one of you.
Yeah.
We'll see you. Bye. Love you.
Bye, family.